What's going on, guys? Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be doing a 2021 lottery redraft. But before we start the lottery, here are some honorable mentions that were lucky not to go drafted in the lottery. Deuce McBride, Trey Mann, Ayo Desomu, Aaron Wiggins, Corey Kispert, and Quentin Grimes. Before we start the lottery, make sure to like the video and subscribe if you haven't already. With the first pick in a 2021 lottery redraft, the Detroit Pistons are up, and with their original pick, they selected Cade Cunningham, and in a redraft, they would definitely still pick him. He's been decent in his first 3 seasons of his career, but just wasn't the star we knew he could be. That's completely different to this year. He's having his breakout year, averaging 24.5 points, 6 rebounds, and 9 assists, while shooting 46% from the field, 38% from free, and 80% from the free throw line. He's well and truly playing like an all-star this season, and if he doesn't get in, there's something horribly wrong with the all-star game. The Pistons are finally above 500 for the first time in what feels like an eternity, and that's all while Cade's second best teammates have been Tobias Harris, Malik Beasley, Tim Hardaway Jr., and the steel raw Jaden Ivey. Cade's numbers hasn't even skyrocketed like crazy. His points per game only went up 2. His rebounds and assists both only went up by 2 as well. His efficiency has gone up from 44% to 46%, and his 3-point percentage has gone from 35% to 38%. But his free throw percentage has dropped massively, from 86% to 80%, and his turnovers have also gone up. But that's going to happen when you're playing as good as he is and the defense is. With the second pick in the 2021 redraft, the Houston Rockets are up, and with their original pick, they selected Jalen Green, and while he's been good recently, there's a couple of guys that have been great for years, and if a redraft was to occur, I do believe they'll take Evan Mobley with the second pick. Mobley has truly broken out this year. He's averaging 18 points, 8 rebounds, and 3 assists, where he's shooting 57% from the field, 42% from free, and 77% from the free throw line, all while being the third go-to scorer behind Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland on the Cavs team, and on occasions Jarrett Allen. He's also anchoring one of the best defenses in the league. He's truly broken out this season on the offensive end, but he's been an elite defender since day one. In only his second season, he was a top 3 finalist in the Defensive Player of the Year award, only being behind Jaren Jackson Jr., who ended up winning it, and Brook Lopez. You could make the argument he's as good as he is because he's next to Jarrett Allen, but I strongly disagree. I think he's just as good without Jarrett being next to him. There were lots of concerns with him playing the 4 next to Jarrett Allen and not being able to shoot, but it was completely shot those critics down. He's shooting a career-high 42% from free on just under 3 threes attempted a game, compared to last year, where he shot 37% from free on 1.2 threes attempted per game. Evan Mobley is playing himself into his first All-Star game. He's definitely been playing like one, and the first 2 players in this class hopefully will be All-Stars this season. With the third pick in the 2021 redraft, the Cleveland Cavaliers are up, and with their original pick, they selected Evan Mobley, who moved up to second in my redraft. I have them taking Scotty Barnes with the third pick. We just finished talking about 2 players that should be All-Stars, and now we're moving on to someone who's already been an All-Star. Scotty Barnes is averaging 20 points, 8 rebounds, and 6 assists, while shooting 47% on the field, a pretty poor 28% from free, and 72% on the free throw line, which is also pretty poor. His stats haven't drastically changed from last year, but watching the games, he was much better and had a bigger impact on winning, but that was also with a better team before the Raptors traded OG Anunoby and Pascal Siakam. Scotty Barnes and Evan Mobley are both very similar players, so that the Cavaliers aren't losing a whole lot with Evan Mobley being selected second. With the 4th pick in this 2021 redraft, the Toronto Raptors are up, and with their original pick, they selected Scotty Barnes, who was one selection away from falling to them again. But in a redraft, they would select their center of the future in Alperen Sengun. This season, Sengun is averaging 19.4 points, 10.5 rebounds, and 5 assists, while shooting 49% from the field, an abysmal 23% from free, and 71% from the free throw line. While his efficiency and defense leaves a lot to be desired, but what he's doing with the ball is remarkable. His playmaking and shot close to the basket has been incredible, and he's only going to get better as the years go on. And hopefully the 3-point shot comes with it, and his defense gets better. Oh, he has only had 3 games where he's dished out double-digit assists. It doesn't stop him from getting double-doubles. He's had 26 games where he's recorded 10-plus points and 10-plus rebounds in a game. I know what you're thinking. He's a center, and that's his job. But the amount of rebounds he's been collecting has been superb. He's had 13 games this season where he's grabbed 12 or more boards in a game. For somebody with his athleticism limitations, that is highly impressive. With the 5th pick in the 2021 redraft, the Orlando Magic are up, and with their original pick, they selected Jalen Suggs. But in a redraft, I have them taking a guy they already have, so they'll be happy. I'm sure you've already guessed it, it's Franz Wagner. This year, just like a lot of these guys in this class, are breaking out onto the big stages as stars, and Franz is no exception. He's averaging 24.4 points, 5.6 rebounds, and 5.7 assists, while shooting 46% from the field, 32% from free, and 88% from the free throw line. If it wasn't for his torn oblique injury, he well and truly might have been playing himself into the All-Star game, and probably the 3rd seed in the East for the Magic. But because he's only played 25 games, it's hard to see him getting into the All-Star game, especially because he's still injured, and I don't know when he comes back and if it's in time for the game. But he will definitely be in plenty more games in the future, barring he stays healthy. He scored 30 or more points 8 times this season, between 25 to 30 5 times, and between 20 to 25 7 times. His playmaking has also been massively improved. He's dished out more than 5 assists 15 times this season, including a game where he got a total of 11 assists in a game. For a wing who hasn't really been known to be a playmaker, that is insane. He's gotten 2 double-doubles this season. One was in a 98-96 win against the Sixers, where he scored 31 points and grabbed 11 boards, and another in a 119-118 win against the Lakers, where he scored 37 points and dished out 11 assists. He also hit the game winner in that game. With the 6th pick in the 2021 redraft, the Oklahoma City Thunder are up, and with their original pick, they selected Josh Giddey. But in a redraft, I have them taking Jalen Johnson. Josh Giddey had an excellent rookie season where he averaged 12 points, 7 rebounds, and 6 assists, and he made history as the youngest NBA player to record a triple-double or something like that. But it turned out to be a pretty ordinary pick, as they later ended up trading him. The trade was great for them, but they still traded their 6th overall pick only a couple years into his career. But moving on to Jalen Johnson, he rises from the 20th pick to the 6th pick, so it's pretty successful first couple of seasons for him. This season, he's averaging 19.4 points, 10.3 rebounds, and 5.3 assists, where he's shooting 50% from the field, 32% from free, and 74% from the free throw line. Jalen is one of those rare players that can truly do it all. He's elite at driving and finishing at the rim. He can defend, he can hit the three, and he can also pull up in the mid-range. And he can even play make if he's needed to. Jalen Johnson was a finalist for the Most Improved Player award last year, and will probably be one of the favorites again for the award this year. Jalen has only scored 30 points once, but his consistency of scoring 20 plus every game is what makes him such a good player and what could get him into the All-Star game. He scored between 25 to 30 points 6 times this season and between 20 to 25 11 times. With the 7th pick in the 2021 redraft, the Warriors are up, and with their original pick, they selected Jonathan Kuminga. But in a redraft, I have them taking Jalen Green. Getting someone on Jalen Green's star power at the 7th pick is great value for the Warriors. Green's career has gotten off to a rocky start. Jalen has always been able to score. That's not what the problem is. It's his efficiency that has to get better for him to be labeled as a true star. Outside of his scoring, Green doesn't offer a whole lot. That's why I have him falling so far. His defense has been a bit better than earlier in his career, but still subpar, and his playmaking is close to non-existent. On the year, he's averaging 21.5 points, 4 rebounds, and 2.7 assists, where he's shooting 43% from the field, 36% from free, and 87% from the free throw line. As of late, Jalen Green has been on a tear, scoring 25 or more in 8 of his last 9 games, including a 40-point game. But we have seen this before. Last April, he did the exact same thing and then went back to the old Jalen Green. He scored 40 points twice this season, 30 or more 6 times, and 20 plus 15 times. With the 8th pick in the 2021 redraft, the Magic are back up with the original Bulls pick that was traded to the Magic in the Nikola Vucevic trade. They originally picked Franz Wagner with this pick, but they already got him. And with this pick, I have them taking another player they already have. It's Jalen Suggs. Yes, I do have the Magic taking the 2 exact players they picked in the draft, just the opposite order. Jalen Suggs has improved drastically on the offensive end this season when it comes to his scoring and his playmaking. This season, he's averaging 16 points, 4 rebounds, and 3.7 assists, while shooting 41% from the field, 31% from free, and 88% from the free throw line. He's taken on a massive scoring role since Paolo and Franz have been out, while still playing defense with great intensity. He scored 31 points twice this season, between 25 and 30 5 times, between 20 to 25 4 times. Coming into the league, he wasn't known that much of a playmaker, but this year, he's been a much better playmaker. He's dished out 7 or more assists 4 times this season, and he's dished out 5 or more assists 8 times. Jalen Suggs is the epitome of what the Magic are as a team, and he's the perfect player for this franchise. With the 9th pick in the 2021 redraft, the Sacramento Kings are up, and with their original pick, they selected Davion Mitchell, who's a solid role player, but I'm sure they'd like to have that pick back, considering they later traded him to Toronto for Jalen McDaniels, the older brother of Timberwolf Jaden McDaniels, who they later labeled shortly after. In a redraft, I have them taking Herb Jones. Herb Jones has been one of the best perimeter defenders since coming into the league and can hit the three-point shot, something Davion Mitchell hasn't been able to do much at this point in his career. Herb Jones has had to deal with a ton of injuries in his young career, and as I'm recording this, he's currently out with a shoulder injury, and it's only played in 20 games this season, where he averaged 10 points, 4 rebounds, and 3 assists, where he's shooting 43% from the field, 30% from free, and 82% from the free throw line. Scoring hasn't been his strong suit in his career, and hasn't been in the games he's played this season. He is strictly a 3-and-D wing who's gonna give it his all on the defensive end and hit the occasional free. He scored 20 points twice this season, between 15 to 20 twice, and between 10 to 15 6 times. You may look at his stats and say he's not that great, but just last year, when he was healthy, he was averaging 11 points while shooting 49% from the field, 6% better than the start of this year, and 41% from free, 11% better than this year. With the 10th pick in the 2021 redraft, the New Orleans Pelicans are up, and with their original pick, they selected Zaire Williams, who was ended up traded to the Memphis Grizzlies as part of the Jonas Valanciunas to Pelicans trade. So this pick will be sent to the Grizzlies. With this selection will be Jonathan Kuminga. This season, Kuminga is averaging 16.8 points, 5 rebounds, and 2 assists, while he's shooting 46% from the field, 34% from free, and a pretty poor 63% from the free throw line. Jonathan is having a quietly great season, considering how he started the year, coming off the bench and being out of the rotation earlier on when it was meant to be his breakout year with the absence of Klay Thompson. But he's come into his own as of late before he got injured. He went on a 2-game scoring run where he scored 34 points in a 102-92 loss to the Clippers. Then the very next day, he scored 30 points again, this time in a 109-105 win against the Suns. That's not the only time he scored 30 points this season. He also scored 30 points in a 6-point win over the Houston Rockets. He scored between 25 to 30 points once this season, between 20 to 25 points 7 times, and 15 to 20 7 times as well. With the 11th pick, the Charlotte Hornets are up, and with their original pick, they selected James Bouknight, who might be one of the worst picks of all time, and you've got to really feel for Hornets fans. It seems like they can't do anything right. But in this redraft, I have them taking Josh Giddey. I know what you're thinking. They already have LaMelo Ball. Why on earth do they need another point guard that needs the ball in their hands to be effective and can't defend? And you'd be right, but when the draft class is this deep and you're picking so low, you just have to select the best player available. The Melo Ball is an elite scorer, but if he is as good as the numbers say, he should be able to score with ease when he's playing off the ball. If he struggles, then I'd definitely be up to trading Giddey. In his first year in Chicago, Josh Giddey is averaging 11 points, 7 rebounds, and 7 assists, when he's shooting 43% on the field, 32% from free, and 74% from the free throw line. Giddey is such an inconsistent player. One game, he can look like the next John Stockton, and the next game, he can look awful. But he's still only 22 years old, and guys like him need more time to develop their game. I truly believe he can be one of the best playmakers in this league. With the 12th pick, the San Antonio Spurs are on the clock. With their original pick, the Spurs selected Josh Primo, but in a redraft, they would pick Moses Moody. What a mistake it was for the Spurs drafting Josh Primo in the lottery, because in just year 2 of his career, he was suspended and released by the Spurs for things we won't get into. Moving on to Moses Moody, he was originally selected 14th overall by the Golden State Warriors, where he averaged 8 points on 43% from the field, 36% from free, and 73% from the free throw line in only 16 minutes per game. For whatever reason, Steve Kerr has had a problem with Moody to start his NBA career and has played him way less than he deserves in the first 4 seasons. He's an elite shooter and could hold his own defensively, and there's no reason why he shouldn't be playing 20 plus minutes every single night. And the Spurs team that desperately needed scoring next to DeJounte Murray at the time would have been an ideal landing spot for them in hindsight. With the 13th pick in this redraft, the Indiana Pacers are up, and with their original pick, they selected Chris Duarte, who didn't look that bad of a pick at first, but with hindsight, it was a terrible pick, considering they later traded him for a couple of seconds. But in a redraft, I have them taking Cam Thomas. At this point in their career, it's crazy to say Cam Thomas is the best pure scorer in a class that has Jalen Green, Cade Cunningham, and Bones Highland. Cam Thomas is averaging 24 points, 3 rebounds, and 3 assists, where he's shooting 44% from the field, 37% from free, and 87% from the free throw line. The reason he isn't going higher is because of his lack of defense and his playmaking struggles for the most part of his career. But so far this season, his playmaking has been better. He's had a couple of games this season where he dished out 5 or more assists. There is no doubt he has the talent to score. He scored 40 once this season, 30 points 5 times, and 20 points 6 times to start the season. Ending the lottery was the last pick in a lottery redraft, and this video, the Warriors are up, and with their original pick, they selected Moses Moody. But if a redraft was to happen, I have them taking Trey Murphy. Trey Murphy would definitely be drafted higher, but I have him going 14th to Golden State. Murphy's been having a really underrated season, where he's quietly averaging 21 points, 5 rebounds, and 3 assists. But the Pelicans have the injury bug this season, including Trey, and they sit in 14th in the West, and not many non-Pelicans fans are recognizing what he's doing. With all the Pelicans injuries, he's had to step up his scoring, and boy has he excelled at this. He scored 30 or more 4 times this season, between 25 and 30 3 times, and 20 or more 7 times this season. Scoring 20 or more was pretty much unheard of from him just last year, And if you told me before the draft he'd be a 20 points a game scorer, I wouldn't believe you. Maybe it's just because I don't watch college basketball and I sound like a giant casual right now. That's the end of the lottery and this video. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like it and smash that subscribe button. And if you disagree with my order, make sure to comment what you change down below.